What's up, my financially intentional people? I am joined with Tiffany Grant, my good friend. We're going to talk about mommying and money, how we teach our kids about money. So I'm going to go ahead and let Tiffany introduce herself because she has an incredible story. What's up, Tiff?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. So,
Of
my name is
course.
Tiffany Grant, and I run Money Talk with Tiff, which is a financial education platform in the form of a blog and a podcast. And I just love talking about money. And I'm glad to be here to talk about my kids because that's two passions coming together.
Yes. We love these kids. We love these kids, even though they take years off of our lives. It is,
Facts. Just stay
girl,
there.
all day, all day. And before you jump into the approach you take with your kids, what was your money story? How did you grow up talking about money? And then how did you get into the financial education space?
Yeah, so growing up talking about money, I didn't. So in my household, nobody talked about it. It was one of those things, kids stay in a kid's place. And so nobody ever said anything about what was going on with them financially. I didn't know how much people was making. I didn't know what the budget was. All I knew was my family loved to spend and I always got what I wanted. But as I got older, I realized what that did. And so a lot of my immediate family members have gone through bankruptcies and even foreclosures. And so that kind of shaped my money perspectives growing up. So people weren't talking about the good things about money. It was just what I saw and the bad things. And so that kind of made me terrified a little bit. I'm not going to lie. And so that's when I started diving in myself and reading more about how does all of this work? Because I didn't want to go through that same situation. It was traumatic.
Girl, I was right there with you. Like the calls with the bill collectors, dodging people, having $5 a week to survive off of. So changing things up, you have three kids now. And then again, what are their ages?
14, 9, and 1.
So all at totally different stages developmentally and the way we approach education in general. What are some approaches you take to talk to your kids about money?
Yes, so my kids are very active in my money situation because, like I said, I don't want to repeat the same cycles. And we talk about budgets all the time. We talk about if we go to the store, I have trained them to the point where they don't ask for anything unless it's on sale. And starting that from like a young age, we would go to the grocery store. They'd be like, "Oh, mommy, can I get this?" And I'd be like, "Is it on sale?" So now what they do is they'll point it out and be like, "It's on sale." And so usually I get it if they say that. But you'll be surprised how much they pick up just from watching you work and watching you interact. So even to the point where my oldest son and my youngest son, they were like, "Oh, we want to be entrepreneurs." And it's because they see me as an entrepreneur. Now, I never thought that that's what they would want to do, but as they see us interacting and doing different things, they're like, "Oh, this looks cool. I like what mommy's doing." So that's why it's always important, even in just the smallest interactions. Maybe, for instance, we'll go to the bank. They just got some money from my mom because she still be spending. But maybe they get some money from my mom. "Oh, let's go to the bank and do a deposit or what have you." And so they pick up on all of these different things. So it's important to be a good example now.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm definitely an advocate of more is caught than taught. They see us doing those things and then that's easy to pick up on as opposed to us being like, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, but we're not exemplifying that. How do you handle? I have the grandma that likes to buy them things and give them all of those things. How do you navigate that? Put me up on game because I do.
I wish I had all the answers for you. Because even just yesterday, my mom was over here and she was like, "Oh, I got to put more money on their lunch accounts and it's down to $7." And I'm like, I didn't have lunch accounts. I just ate the school lunch. I didn't have the extra cookies and all these things. But she even to the point where she's keeping money on their school lunch stuff just so they can get extra. So honestly, I just let her do what she gonna do. Now, sometimes I'm like, they don't need that. You don't have to do that, whatever. But she's going to do what she's going to do because she's an adult. So I think for me, for instance, if it is something that I can control, like for instance, she gives the money, then I'm like, okay, y'all, you need to save some, you can spend some, and then you can give some away. So those are my 3 things that I make sure my kids do with every piece of money that they come in. Just we have to give there so they don't become selfish. Like you do have to give a little bit. We have to save there so that way they can save up for something, a bigger purchase if they want it. And then the spend, because of course they're kids, they want that instant gratification. So with my kids, they love video games, which I do too. So that's why I said they watch and learn, but they love getting Fortnite V-Bucks and Robux and all these things. And if I let them, they would spend all their money on that. My son just came to me yesterday and was like, oh, can I do some extra chores for some Robux? Sir, like you can't spend all your money with these people. But that's why it's important to direct them as well. So I believe that their money is their money, but they also don't have the same insight that we have when it comes to how marketing works and how all of these things as adults we're like, oh, that's a marketing gimmick. But to them, it's like, oh, we got to get Prime. Oh, we got to get.
Can we talk about the Prime thing? Who did that? Was it that YouTube guy? What's his name? Mr. Beast or something? Was it him who put this Prime out there? Because it became this thing in school. And it was the first time I had to talk to my kids about brand names because she got Prime from 7-Eleven and they was like, that's not the real Prime. And I'm just like, hold on, boo, back up. First of all, I didn't even want you to drink this, okay? You're not going to drink it. It's nasty. You just wanted the bottle so you can walk around school to say that you had it. First of all, you don't need to be stunting on nobody because you can pull out your net worth and stunt, okay? If that's what you really want to do. Okay, because that's what really matters at the end of the day. Next week, ain't nobody going to be worried about this Prime. I say, what is my fault? Because I bought that for you. I let you go to 7-Eleven and buy that stuff and play into this. But we're not going to play those games. You know how we do. So I train my kids about marketing in the sense that we're going to use marketing to our advantage. If you think Prime is what you really want to buy, look at who owns Prime and we'll buy some shares in that stock. Because we're not playing this consumerism game, okay? And if we're going to play it to our advantage.
Amen. And girl, I don't know, to answer your first question, I don't know the name of the YouTuber. It wasn't Mr. Beast. It was another one. But Prime has got these kids in a chokehold. And to the point where I never bought Prime at all, but my mom been buying them Prime.
That's
and
it's their mamas that's the problem. Okay, stop, please.
And to the point, Nasima, they were, you know how back in college and stuff, we would put the liquor bottles on top of the thing. They got the Prime bottles, like a collection on top of the cabinets. Like, it's that bad. And so whenever they get a new flavor, they're like, oh, we don't have this one. Let's put it up there. But it's amazing how they target the kids because they realize the kids really don't know any better. They don't know the difference between an ad and them just talking about something.
Which is not great, but it's marketing, right? It's not good. Also, they know, like, we might not necessarily buy it, but we'll do stuff for our kids that we wouldn't do for ourselves. Spend money on our kids, and the kids put pressure on there. Like, oh, I remember missing out on this in school, and I don't want my kid to feel like an outcast, so I'm going to go ahead and spend this money on this stuff that I know that probably will give them congestive heart failure later. Who cares? Because they're going to be the popular kid. Like, come on now.
Yeah, we
and
definitely.
And the thing about putting the bottles up, first of all, I tell my kids, is Prime sponsoring this? Is Prime sponsoring this? Let me tell you. Okay, you can put those bottles up, but you better be in Prime's marketing email box and tell them you need to sponsor this in the background so I can take a picture of this. If you're not willing to do that, don't put that stuff up in my house. That can't be in my house. You know what I'm saying? That cannot live in my house. No, you need to get paid, honey.
Right. It's wild. Now, that is something that I have taught my kids. And my mom mentioned this the other day. She was like, Tiffany's kids, they don't work for free. She said, She said, I asked them to do something. Their first thing is, so how much? Like, how much you gonna give me or whatever? And so that's one thing that I did teach my kids, that they have value. I remember being young and my grandma said that I used to charge my grandpa to take out his garbage and all that stuff. And so they get it honestly. But I feel like those lessons are important too,
Yeah.
because they have their regular chores, and their regular chores, that's just household contribution. But when you go on above and beyond, then I feel like that has value. And so that's what I've been teaching my kids as well. And that's why they ask for those extra chores and extra jobs. And when my mom and them asked them to do something, they're like, okay, so, how much am I getting for this? But I think that that's an important lesson too. And it has helped me as an adult, being that when I was younger, I used to do that. So
Yeah, it teaches kids to value themselves. But I also want to go back into this like enabling thing that often grandparents do to our kids. You wasn't getting all that stuff as a kid, but they feel as their job as a grandparent, they have to do those things and to put like boundaries around that. So some things that I have done. So their grandma loves to buy them stuff. So we always go on like family trips. For example, we just went to Monterey a couple weekends ago, and they'll ask for stuffed animals. Now these kids don't need no stuffed animals. They have a whole top bunk that is full of stuffed animals, and they're just disgusting. Like, I don't know. As a nurse, I just know they carry all these germs. They take them around. I don't buy
dusty.
that stuff. Exactly. So I'm just like, okay, I don't want these kids to get gifts, but her love language is buying gifts for these kids. That brings her joy. So I'm not trying to like stop like your joy. Check this out though. Keep them at your house. Anything that you buy them, keep them at your house. And I actually learned that from Julie and Joshua. She was like, because she only lets her kids have 7 toys or something. She's like, the amount of toys that they can comfortably clean up by themselves, because she would tell them that she noticed she would tell them to clean up their room and they would get frustrated. And she realized, all right, it's frustrating because it is overwhelming. It's a lot of stuff. Like, okay, if this is overwhelming to you, let's put it into a manageable place. Let's keep limited to a manageable amount so that you can comfortably clean up your room so it's not frustrating. And so I'm like, yes, well, that's what's going on now. Keep that stuff over there. Also, as far as like allowance and giving gifts and giving money, I actually stumbled across the Go Henry app because I'm doing some UGC stuff for them. And that app is actually really, really good. So what it allows you to do is you have a bank account like that you control, but it's technically the kids. And then you can fund this money in there, and then you can give them an allowance, an automated allowance. So my oldest daughter has an automated allowance of $5 a week, right? And that's for her regular household chores, whatever. And then if she goes above and beyond and asks me to do something extra, I can just transfer some money over there to her account, and then that's hers. And then also they have financial education learning things. So every time she completes a lesson, I can contribute anywhere to 5 cents to $3 for every lesson that she learns. So if she wants extra money, she can do extra chores or she can do some financial education. So I really, really like that app as far as being like a one centralized place where they can look, manage their money. Now, if she wants Roblox, she has the money in her account to say that she can buy it. When we go on trips, if she wants something, she knows that it has to be in that account in order for her to get it. And so she don't ask me for stuff, but she did. We were in Monterey. She did go to her grandma and was like,
They know who they can get it from.
She's like, my mom is going to tell me I can't buy this thing because I don't have enough money in my account. Could you hook a sister up?
Oh yeah, they know.
And
they
I'm
know.
like, I'm not buying it. You're not getting it. So if you're not paying for it, I mean, I said, these are some things, some ways you can afford it, and this is what you would have to do. So it teaches them the value of money. And I think it's harder to do when we don't really deal in tangible money as much anymore. So it's attached to a
Mm-hmm.
debit card, it's attached to digital stuff. She can transfer money back and forth. So I really, really like that tool. Not a
Mm-hmm.
plug, but just
Mm-hmm.
information.
No, that's good. And
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out. I know at my oldest son, one of the things I did when he turned 13, it was like you're a teenager now. It's time for you to manage your own stuff. And so I took him to open up his own checking account to get his own debit card and things like that. And that was like our 13-year-old big to do. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing about it was for his birthday, he got quite a bit of money. So I was like, okay, let's put it in. But he couldn't spend any of it until he created a budget. Because I'm like, you have a finite amount of money in here and
Mm-hmm.
you want all these different things. So let's plan it out and see how it's going to fall.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, because I do every time the statement comes, he looks at it. And when the statement came for the first time, he looked at it. He was like, wait a minute, why do I have $99? Because he did have 100. And I said, every month the bank takes $1. It's like your maintenance fee. He was like, so you mean to tell me if I don't touch this money, they'll just keep taking $1? And I said, yeah, that's how it works. And so you can use those opportunities as well as they get older as learning opportunities. Like, this is how financial institutions work. And if you don't like that, then you can always shop around and look for something else, but this is how this bank works. So I really like that we went through that. And every time the statements come, I'm like, Derek, you got some mail. I give it to him and he looks over his statements, make sure everything is right. And then he goes on. So anyway, I say that to say, as they get older, there's other things that you can do as well to start teaching them about like real life stuff that we be going through as adults.
So does your son, I don't know, like I remember when I was in high school at 14, you could start working, get a work permit. Is he working outside of the house yet?
No, he
Okay.
did work for me for a little bit, but other than that, no. And it's honestly really hard to get a job at 14 around here because I remember me being 14. I was like, oh, I could work now, and nobody wanted to hire me. So realistically, he's probably going to have to wait until he's 16 unless there's a connection that I know that are willing to give him a chance. But to that point, he loves tinkering and stuff. And he had a YouTube channel at one point that was doing better than mine. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. But he was like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber. All the kids had that dream at one point. And I was like, okay, let's try it. And so he started his little channel and he realized that it was way more work than he wanted to put in. So he let it go. But just giving your kids the opportunity to taste of the different things that they like to do to see what's going to fit. Because it could be that maybe he liked it. He'd be the next Mr. Beast or whatever. But he was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. But now what he's settled on is he wants to be an engineer. And so I'm like, okay, let's see what I can put you into or what we can do to get you tinkering or whatever with stuff to see if this is really what you want to do. So that's how I treat my oldest son now that he's older, to give him a little taste, because nobody's going to really hire him at this age, unfortunately. But in the future, if he gains some skills, I told him, I'm like, you can always start your own business. If you want to be a computer engineer, you can go ahead and start tinkering on computers and be like, oh, I can fix your computer for you, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for somebody to hire you for that.
Exactly. Putting those skills to work. But when he does start earning his own income outside of his checking account and stuff that you already set up for him, are there other accounts that you feel like you're going to open up for him? Or if you had a template of, once you start earning income as a teen, a young adult, what are some financial steps you have to take? What would that look like?
Yeah, so he already has a 529 because he said early on that he wanted to go to college. And if he wants to be an engineer, he's probably going to have to go to college. That's there for him where he could put money in there himself if he wanted to. He has a checking account, which we opened at 13. When he starts earning his own money, he does have a savings account too, but barely used because
a couple dollars a year,
a couple dollars, whatever. So he does have that. But when he starts earning his own money, I'm definitely going to encourage him to maybe do a high yield savings account and start putting more money into that, because that'll be really key. I'm a firm believer in you need savings. Like, I know you can't save your way to wealth, but you can save your way to peace of mind. And I'm a firm believer in savings accounts. So I think having the 529, which is his investments, the savings, the checking, the little itty bitty savings, if he wants to keep that. I think those would be like some really key items for him to have. Now, eventually down the road, if he wants to get into more investing, then he can always open up a different investing account that he can play with. But he doesn't really seem too interested in that right now. Maybe that'll change when he gets his own money. Who knows? But I think at least those accounts are like the baseline that teenagers should have.
What do you say to people who say, why would you put money in a 529? What if he doesn't go to college ultimately?
If he doesn't go to college, then guess what? You can always move that money to somebody else. He has one. My youngest son has one. My sister is about to start college. So I'm like, even if my oldest son doesn't go, it'll roll over to my youngest son. If my youngest son don't want to go, it can roll over to my daughter. If she don't want to go, I guess I'll be going back to school.
By that time, your oldest son could have a kid and then do it for their college. Like, people are so short-sighted sometimes. In the meantime, that money is growing in that account, interest, penalty-free, tax-free. So let it go.
It can go to anybody, even if you had some godchild or something. Like, let's say you didn't have kids, you have a godchild and you want to provide for them. It's easily transferable. So that's why I decided that it was a good move for us.
Everybody wants to be that rich auntie or uncle. Stop playing, okay?
And I said, worst case scenario, I love learning. I'm a glutton for punishment. So I'm like, I can just go back to school again.
Exactly. Get another degree. It also pays if you have student loans. Okay, you can take $10,000 of that and pay off your student loans. So yeah, I really, really like that. But I always tell parents, like, ultimately, we want to learn all these things for our kids, probably because we did not experience these things as a kid, or we didn't have access to these financial tools, education as a kid. And we think of ourselves as late starters, right? I didn't start learning about this stuff until I was well into my 30s. I don't know when you started, but then we say, oh, I want to make sure I set this up correctly for my kids. But I always tell people, don't jump to your kids. What do you have for yourself? So what are some things us mommies should have in place before we even start thinking about these little rugrats?
Yes, regrets. But it's so true. And right. And I go back to when you're flying and they say, put your oxygen mask on first, then do your kids or whoever you with. And that's so true when it comes to your finances too, because think about it this way. Okay. When it comes time for me to retire, my kids, I don't want them to have to worry about anything when it comes to me. When it comes to school, so let's look at retirement versus saving for college, okay? I can't get money from the government. I do a little social security check, if that still exists at that time, but that's the only money that I can get from the government for my retirement. On the other hand, with education, they'll have access to grants, loans if they need it, whatever. And when you're looking at those two things, just to give an example, it's better to save for your retirement because at the end of the day, you're not going to have a safety net. The kids is going to be okay, regardless if they have to take out loans. You might not want them to take out loans and stuff, but they have that option if they need it. And so with you, you can't take out a loan for your retirement, 20, 30 years that you're going to be retired. So it's important to save for yourself first. And that's one thing, honestly, I didn't start doing. Like, my kids had way more money than I did for a while. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to work forever, first of all. And then also I want to be comfortable too, because when I'm comfortable, they're comfortable. And so I also have to prioritize myself and what I need. Even though I want to give my kids the world, I need to give to myself too. I feel like when you're looking at, oh, should I do this or that? Always cover yourself first, then do the kids. Because like I said, you don't want to be in a situation where now you're being a burden to them either.
That's it. The biggest gift you can give to your kids is them not having to take care of you. Okay.
Because it happens way too much. And then they're like stressing out as adults because they're like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure my mom and dad is okay or whatever. And I feel like that shouldn't be their concern because you should save up, even if because single moms, I'm a single mom, I got to do this all myself, but that doesn't matter. I still need to take care of myself too. And so I don't want them to be like, my mom sacrificed for me and it's that. No, 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 no. I'm going to make sure that I'm straight so that way you can be straight in the future, and we going to do it.
So this is something I'm going to do a podcast episode on, but I just want to get your opinion on this. And this comes from a place where my oldest daughter's dad passed away. And so I was wondering, how do you feel as a single mom about having a life insurance policy against your kids' dads?
That would be awesome stuff. No, stop. God forgive me. But I think honestly, though, that's real because at the end of the day, if they're contributing quite a bit, you want to make sure that that's being covered as well. And I don't see anything wrong with it. And I think you could do that, right? You can get a life insurance policy because there's an interest there. I don't see anything wrong with it. I haven't done it, but now you just gave me an idea that I might need to do because let's see, my oldest son's dad, he's in his life, court order. He gets them every so often. He fought me for a long time with child support. They finally bumped it up from $50 a month after so many years.
Right? That's $50 a month.
$50 a month. Huh? $50 a month for years, sis, years. Girl. Finally bumped that up. But I'm thinking about if he were to pass away, he already doesn't want to give me anything while he's living. So there's no way that his family or anybody would give me anything after he passes away. And then my youngest son's dad, so my middle child, he's currently incarcerated. And I'm like, if there's anything that happens to him, he's not contributing right now because he can't. But I'm like, if anything happens to him, then what? It'll be the same thing. And then my youngest son's dad, my youngest daughter, he has a policy on himself for his daughter. So he's already thinking ahead of time. So I really appreciate that. We actually had that conversation the other day and he was like, I want to make sure that you're the beneficiary so that way my daughter's taken care of and stuff like that. So I do appreciate when they already think about this themselves. But for those that don't, I'm like, maybe this is something that I need to do. I never thought about that.
And I just brought that up because this is the conversation that I think I've never heard people have, but I'm just like, yes, these people have an interest. And if they're not going to do it, kudos to her dad for stepping up and getting a policy. But if they're not going to do it and you want to raise your kids financially responsible, and if something happened to them, that's a big loss. I didn't have it. But I thought about it. Dang, I wish I would have had this in place. And so that's one of the regrets. But on the back end, Social Security is still here and there are some survivor benefits there if your kids are under 18. But if they're over 18, still, it would set them up like to have at least a little nest egg to continue to grow. And so I have life insurance policies for myself, for my kids, if something were to happen to me. And so I think their dad should as well. So anyway, I just thought that would be an interesting conversation because I wish it was talked about more.
And we need to have these conversations more because honestly, I never thought about it until you just said something. I'm like, I do have an interest in them being alive and well and taking care of their kids. And therefore, it makes me eligible to get a policy, which I never thought about. It never crossed my mind. But that's why these conversations are important because we can brainstorm. We can start thinking about different things that we may have missed. And this is something we're both in the finance industry and we might know a lot about a lot, but we don't know everything.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations are important. And that's why we just need to know what's out there, what's available to us, what's possible. And I know you have these conversations over on your platform on Money Talk with Tiff. So tell us about your platform and how people can follow you over there.
Yeah, so wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can find Money Talk with Tiff. I would love to have you. We have a lot of fun. I make a lot of jokes. I laugh a lot. If my laughing is annoying, don't come. No, I was kidding. But I do joke and I laugh a lot. So be prepared for that. And then also the blog is moneytalkwitht.com. So you can visit the website, get all that good information over there. And then on social media is at Money Talk with T everywhere. I have a slight social media addiction, so you can find me on all the platforms.
A slight addiction.
Slight, very slight.
We all have a slight addiction, especially if we want to exist in this space. We have to be present and consistent, which is neither here nor there. It's one of those things. Sometimes you don't want to create, but you create amazing content and you have a great platform. So I'm honored to have you on. This is such an incredible conversation. It's always nice to talk to a fellow mommy out here doing our thing. So I appreciate you so much, Tiff.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was fun. And like I said, you done gave me some gems. I gave the audience some gems. You gave me some gems. Let's just gem it all around.
Look, it's about that exchange of knowledge. That's why we're here. Like, it's that circle. You know what I'm saying? Surround yourself with people that inspire you, that can give you gems. Like, that is all that it is about. So you give me so much inspiration. So I'm glad I can give a little bit back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.